she was trying to use the legal system inappropriately.
Federal court's no joke, right? Compared to the state court, federal court, way tougher.
It wasn't just a resignation, it was a strategic retreat from a sinking ship.
What Ryan Reynolds forced his daughter to do on Deadpool is one of the most abhorrent things I have ever heard of.
When Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds' lawyer dropped them mid-case, insiders knew something far darker was going on. Attorneys don't walk away from A-list clients for minor disagreements. They walk away when their own reputations are at risk.
I want your opinion. I'll take Wolverine's mouth.
He is a certified predator.
Sources close to the legal team say the breaking point came when Blake allegedly tried to control the litigation process herself, overriding legal advice, dismissing strategic concerns, and demanding her team push unsubstantiated claims to sway public opinion. One insider said it stopped being a legal case and started becoming a PR war Blake wanted to control personally. And for a seasoned lawyer, that was a red line.
Blake Lively might have just done herself in this battle with Justin Baldoni, although she didn't do it intentionally. It was something she said
Long before she ever worked with Justin Baldoni.
right, but there's something she said that has now been resurfaced, and it is right on the nose as far as what the issues are in her battle with Justin Baldoni.
Court insiders claim that Blake's pressure tactics didn't stop at her legal team. She allegedly demanded they threaten counter lawsuits, leak specific talking points to the press, and, most shockingly, dangle false allegations to negotiate better press coverage. Specifically, she hinted at using a sexual harassment accusation against Justin Baldoni as leverage, a claim the legal team had no verified foundation for. That wasn't just ethically questionable. That was a reputational risk for everyone involved. One source close to the case claimed she was trying to weaponize the system. The lawyer knew the blowback could ruin his career, and he got out before it hit. And now that he's out, he's not staying quiet.
It's not going to be just a lawsuit. It's going to be the kind of lawsuit that is full of evidence, admissions, documents, which prove exactly what she did and how she bullied her way through the process.
But what pushed this from dramatic to disturbing were the allegations about Ryan Reynolds and his daughter on the Deadpool set. According to leaked details from legal testimony and insider accounts, Ryan allegedly forced his underage daughter to participate in a scene involving explicit content that was scripted to be humorous, but was wildly inappropriate for a child. Even the lawyer called it out. It's one of the most abhorrent things I've ever seen from a father in this industry. Parenting blogs, advocacy groups, and even child psychologists began speaking out online, asking, how far are celebrity parents willing to go to protect an image, even at the cost of their kids? The blowback was instant and severe. Reynolds went from relatable dad to reckless figure of concern.
He mocked Baldoni in the process. He said, it's an effed up bad situation with what Baldoni, whatever his name is doing.
And then came the leak that blew the lid off the entire image machine. Shortly after Blake filed suit against Justin Baldoni, the New York Times published an oddly detailed hit piece, framing Baldoni in a negative light just days after her legal documents were filed. The timing? Too perfect. The tone? Too slanted. The sources? Too convenient. Insiders believe Blake's team fed the story directly to the paper to gain public favor before a judge even reviewed the case, and that was the moment the illusion cracked. Because when a Hollywood actress starts using one of the most powerful newspapers in the world as a legal mouthpiece, people start asking real questions, and the answers aren't looking good.
They always want to pit women against each other. You don't hear about like Penn and Chase hating each other and being jealous and competitive.
I think I'm just brunette because of the books.
Not everyone knows blondes are nicer anyway.
Long before this scandal exploded, Blake was known in the industry as a charismatic but polarizing figure. Former assistants describe her as demanding, emotionally distant, and casually insensitive, with one recounting instances where she made inappropriate remarks about the assistant's cultural background. Her career survived these stories for years, buried under fashion praise and curated cool girl energy. But now, those stories are resurfacing and gaining traction. Directors are allegedly passing on her. Studios are reassessing partnerships, and more than one insider has called her a walking HR nightmare in heels. This isn't just a scandal, it's a collapse of the very brand she built.
Remember Savannah.
There was another promise was no pet monkey. Chuck has a matching pet monkey with coordinating outfits, and I was like, I would love to do brother show, but I can't act with a monkey. And then I got a few of them.
With Blake spiraling in legal hell, Ryan tried to pivot the narrative with sarcasm and silence, hoping the controversy wouldn't touch him. But the internet isn't letting it slide. Critics are dragging him not just for his alleged involvement in their daughter's on-set scandal, but for the fact that he has remained dead silent while watching Blake burn, and in an era where accountability matters more than ever, that silence isn't strong, it's spineless.
Baldoni's lawsuit is so just saturated with text messages and interviews and of he has a good, what I believe is a good faith basis, and this was not done in bad faith.
The line between edgy and unethical, Ryan Reynolds just crossed it. It's now confirmed that Ryan cast his own 7-year-old daughter to play Kidpool in Deadpool, a character tied to a film franchise known for R-rated, sexually explicit, and deeply disturbing content. At first it seemed quirky, a cool dad letting his kid cameo. But now, it's being called child exploitation. Clips circulating online show Ryan laughing as he calls his daughter the dirtiest co-star he's ever worked with. Yes, dirtiest. In a franchise with profanity-laced jokes, nudity, and violent sexual humor. And it wasn't a slip. It was part of the bit. That joke has now aged horribly. Parents, critics, and advocacy groups are calling it what it is: a deliberate use of a child to boost adult content. And with Disney and Marvel now pushing Deadpool onto Disney+, those clips are just a few clicks away from any child's screen. What Ryan thought was edgy dad content now looks like a PR crisis with serious legal and ethical questions.
He's basically saying, well, them suing me is retaliatory because I made a sexual harassment. It's kind of absurd, implying that no one can defend themselves.
The problem for her is that, you know, we're all going to speculate how the New York Times got a copy of the Civil Rights Department complaint that, as you know, we talked about should never have come out in the first place. That was weird.
Let's talk about the studios. The same Disney that pushes itself as family entertainment is now streaming Deadpool, complete with the scenes involving Ryan's real-life daughter. Critics are demanding accountability. Because if this was any other film, any other actor, and any other child, it wouldn't be allowed. So why is Ryan Reynolds getting a pass? And more importantly, why did no one say no? The silence from Marvel and Disney is deafening. And the backlash isn't coming from just media watchdogs, it's now reaching legal forums where child protection laws are being openly discussed in connection to how this scene was greenlit. The optics, absolutely damning.
And you're invoking this law, but I don't see any malice in the counters and Baldoni suit because there is a lot of evidence that maybe this isn't with maliciousness. So the judge to see that a reasonable jury can find one way or the other, and if there's a tipping balance of fact, I'm not going to kick it away here. So it's a very high burden, and it should be really. But like you said, this is really designed for when people are called out, like, give me the basis for your lawsuit.
While Ryan spirals under accusations of exploitation, Blake's side of the scandal isn't cleaner. It's strategically colder. She reportedly pushed NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, on past assistants, PR reps, and collaborators, not for business protection, but to suppress reputation-damaging stories. Legal experts say this tactic is referred to as narrative silencing. You block leaks, control timing, and release polished interviews at the exact moment public perception might shift. And guess what? She did it during the Baldoni lawsuit. Just days before a court filing would go public, Blake's team arranged a full New York Times profile piece loaded with curated details meant to shift sympathy back in her direction. One legal insider said it was surgical PR right down to the hour of release. But it wasn't journalism, it was propaganda. Now, that tactic is unraveling, and so is the brand.
This is all very strange that the New York Times got this article, and there's text messages that are incomplete from your complaint. Maybe this isn't malicious. Maybe your statements were not in good faith, and that's what she has to do in her motion.
Here's something no one was really talking about until now. For years, Ryan Reynolds has made a career out of joking at Blake Lively's expense. From social media jabs to red carpet interviews, it's been passed off as cute couple banter, but people are starting to notice. There's a darker edge to it. Blake gets mocked, diminished, and painted as the nagging wife, while Ryan praises everyone else, especially Hugh Jackman, with whom he's maintained a very public, oddly flirtatious friendship. And now that cracks are forming, people are asking, was it really a joke? Or was he setting the stage for Blake to take the fall? This isn't just a PR issue, it's a pattern, one that's now visible, documented, and being discussed everywhere from TikTok to legal circles.
Judges, especially in New York, and a lot of contracts that are entered here in Hollywood have a New York venue provision. These judges are very well versed in the things that keep coming up, and these defamation claims do keep coming up. And then
in the legal world, it's called forum shopping. Lawsuits in locations where the laws and judges are more favorable to your case. And guess what? That's exactly what Blake did. Instead of filing in New York, where most of her career connections are, she filed her against Justin Baldoni in California, a state known for celebrity-friendly courts, weak media privacy protections, and judges used to fast-tracking settlements. Why? Because she wasn't looking for justice. She was looking for control. This move exposed exactly how calculated and manipulative her legal strategy was. It wasn't about facts. It was about framing the optics. But now that strategy is backfiring because the moment your audience sees the machine behind the image, the magic disappears.
This judge is going to be very, very competent in this, and he's going to apply the law, which requires a showing of malice, which I don't think she's going to be able to undo once Baldoni's opposition shows all the things.
In what insiders are calling a legal stall, Blake and Ryan's attorneys have now filed multiple motions to dismiss the case brought by Justin Baldoni, victimhood and irreparable harm to their image. But legal experts are calling BS. One breakdown by an independent legal analyst on YouTube said bluntly, "These motions aren't meant to win. They're meant to delay the inevitable and spin public perception." The judge overseeing the case reportedly sees right through it, with insiders suggesting he's not buying Blake's use of California's anti-SLAPP laws to block further discovery. Translation, the judge wants a jury to hear this, not Blake's PR team, not Ryan's lawyers, a real jury with real people and real consequences.
What Ryan Reynolds forced his daughter to do on Deadpool is one of the most abhorrent things I have ever heard of.
Blake and Ryan's brand once thrived under the safety of traditional Hollywood media, glossy interviews, fluffed up headlines, and publicists feeding sources the sanitized version of events. But now, they can't contain the chaos because independent creators, bloggers, and YouTube commentators are doing what legacy media won't, telling the truth, sharing the receipts, breaking the stories. It was an anonymous blogger who first leaked the Deadpool set details involving Ryan's daughter. It was Twitter that circulated the now infamous joke that referenced Wolverine's private parts in her daddy's mouth. And it was YouTube and TikTok that forced the mainstream media to pay attention. The truth? The internet is no longer waiting for Vanity Fair or the New York Times to give them permission to care. They see the clips, they hear the quotes, they call it out.
I would love it too much to have ever taken it out, this Eric Carmen song.
Let's not forget, Disney green-lighted this until it backfired. Reports surfaced that Disney executives had no issue with the Deadpool scene involving Ryan's daughter until a line referenced Mickey Mouse in a sexual joke. Let that sink in. They were okay with a 7-year-old being coached into an explicit punchline, but the second Mickey Mouse's name got dragged in, they pulled the plug. That's not ethical oversight, that's corporate brand panic.
He is a certified predator.
And that's what's really changed. The media can't bury scandals anymore, because now, everyone's a journalist, everyone's a source, everyone has a platform. What we're seeing with Blake and Ryan is more than a downfall. It's a case. Study in decentralized accountability. The lawsuits, the leaked messages, the audio, the behavior, it's all out there. And the people who used to protect them are either distancing or leaking. The public is watching, and they're done letting celebrity status erase accountability.
Because it's opinion to say somebody is a predator, well, then that is my opinion.
What started as a PR crisis is now being described as a tipping point. Legal analysts, industry insiders, and fans are using the Blake and Ryan scandal to highlight everything wrong with how power protects power, especially when children are involved. They built an empire off sarcasm, style, and curated family life. Now they're the face of manipulation, coercion, and unchecked ego. And as public trust crumbles, so does the last layer of their image. They're no longer Hollywood's golden couple. They're the blueprint of what happens when the internet refuses to stay quiet.
Guiltily, that is my daughter, Inez.
So sorry we have to admit that.
And I am Father of the Year over here for allowing her to say such length.
No press releases. No dramatic headlines. Just quiet erasure. Major casting directors are no longer considering Blake for romantic leads or relatable wife roles. Ryan, once the king of Marvel crossovers and product placements, is reportedly being ghosted by brand partners. Why? Because no one wants to be tied to the faces of a child exploitation scandal, ongoing defamation lawsuits, and a couple who were once seen as the gold standard of media-savvy celebrity branding are now the poster children for celebrity delusion. Studios are moving on, directors are distancing, and Blake and Ryan, they're out.
He is a predator, a bully, a narcissist, a psychopath, and everything else that you can think of, because it is that gross.
When your reputation becomes radioactive, people don't confront you. They stop calling. The couple who once couldn't walk into a room without being the center of attention now find themselves excluded from premiere lists, award shortlists, and industry panels. Even friendly connections like Taylor Swift, Gigi Hadid, and Hugh Jackman have stayed stone cold silent. No comments, no gestures of support. One insider said, "It's not that people hate them, it's that they're bad business now, and in Hollywood, that's worse than being hated."
This is so gross, so upsetting to me. I have to talk about it. Now, I need to wait until the 2-minute mark has passed when on YouTube, because it is that gross and graphic that I cannot actually put it in the first 2 minutes.
The most damning blows didn't come from courts or newspapers. They came from independent bloggers, YouTubers, and TikTokers who refused to let the story disappear. They pieced together timelines, dissected court filings, cross-referenced interviews, and exposed inconsistencies. They didn't stop at gossip. They pushed for facts. And what came out? NDAs to silence former assistants, coaching a 7-year-old into vulgar jokes, accusations of grooming, blackmail, and coercion, Blake's obsession with image control, Ryan's silence used as a shield. Every headline they tried to bury became a trending topic. Every denial became a meme. Every perfect family moment now looks like a PR strategy built on gaslighting.
This clip is on YouTube, and now Deadpool is on Disney Plus for children to consume. This is what Disney has decided is appropriate. This is what Marvel has decided is appropriate.
While their publicists may insist otherwise, sources confirm the couple is no longer living under the same roof. Blake has gone underground, seen only briefly in paparazzi photos that insiders claim were accidentally staged. Ryan is gone, quiet, limiting his public presence to occasional awkward brand endorsements. The truth? The marriage that once felt invincible now looks like a brand in freefall, clinging to what's left of the partnership just to weather the storm. And in private, friends say the damage is done, the resentment is mutual, and the divorce countdown has already started.
If you don't know, she played Kid Pool in Deadpool. She was 7 years old at the time. Now, I'll show you, this is one thing he said about her. Only co-star I argued with. Most people think Kid Pool is the dirtiest.
Blake Lively wanted to be the next Reese Witherspoon. Ryan Reynolds wanted to be the next George Clooney. Instead, they became the cautionary tale, a couple who crafted a fantasy so tightly they couldn't breathe outside of it, who used sarcasm, silence, and spin to dodge accountability until the spin collapsed, who turned their child into a punchline, then dared to call it family-friendly content. And now, they don't just have to rebuild a career, they have to rebuild trust. Something fame can't buy, PR can't fabricate, and money can't fix.
Who thinks that your daughter, your 7-year-old daughter, is the dirtiest out of the Deadpool movie, out of all of the homophobic, disgusting, in my opinion, sexually predatory lines, filming, everything about this movie is disgusting.
Insiders suggest the couple may retreat from Hollywood entirely, independent films, behind-the-scenes producing, or total radio silence. Because mainstream roles, they're gone, Ryan's image is too controversial, Blake's persona is too fractured, and the power couple label burned into ashes. As public outrage continues and court documents go public, it's clear. This isn't a moment. This is an end. So what do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and ring the bell so you'll be the first to get notified about the latest drama.